The Great Matriarch by Meredith Quinn, Musa. Part 8. The Quest is Known. The grandson, who received the ability to understand all knowledges and sciences when he was yet a small boy by tribal rituals, expected to do something for his people with this ability. 20-some years later, after giving up his business and accounting career, he would know the full meaning to Sitting Bull's statement on August 3rd, 1889. "Indians," Sitting Bull shouted, "there are no Indians left but me." This ended 27 years of his personal life trying to save the Dakota Empire. 103 years later, not one Indian has stood up to challenge his famous statement because he spoke the truth. However, part of the quest has dates to consider at some future time. 1. May 19th, 1779 at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, a tribal ritual taught to white man by an Indian. 2. March 3rd, 1849, 9th Street at LRG 403, C-127, establishing a territorial government on the very grounds of the capital city of the Dakota Empire. 3. June 17th through June 25th, 1865, the United States Army in battles was defeated who declared war on the Dakota Empire. This issue has never been settled with Dakota signatories as of this date. 4. August 3rd, 1889, the signing away of Dakota territories by nationals of the United States without the approval of Dakota signatories. 5. December 30th, 1890, the slaughter of spiritual Dakota signatories by the approval of U.S. nationals who were not the sovereignty. 6. March 11th, 1973, by documentation, the grandson was elected as the international legal advisor for the Chiefs of Wounded Knee. But why, after all this time, according to your documentation, grandson, you had chances for the last 19 years? True, but 1. Every attempt was blocked, making the grandson believe the Indian and whiskey rings are still in existence. For every attempt was blocked, legal circumstances still made it possible for 2 reasons. A. U.S. nationals calling themselves Indians on reservations are still prisoners of war. B. These U.S. nationals turn the issues over to special interest groups who cloud them with complex, legal, ambiguous court history. 2. This legal, complex, ambiguous situation is needed to turn a profit dollar for signatory Indian lands whose sovereignty voice cannot be heard, and these nationals are always ready to sign away these lands. 3. The grandson, who believes his quest is incomplete, came to the same legal conclusion made by Sitting Bull on August 3rd, 1889. It is the same for today. These nationals calling themselves Indians have no desire to return to the ancient, old culture, belief, and sovereignty. Matriarch women rules government. They prefer the identity, being prisoners of war, with the white man's thought-up culture and religion for them, over the true one of the Dakota Empire. There is not one reservation reserved pueblo or ranchero having registered descendants today come from ancestors who helped and went against their own sovereignty for the United States, Canada, Mexico, and any other South American country to hold title to America's empire due to the fact the sovereignty voice cannot be heard or found. For any Indian or tribe to challenge this statement, all they have to do is pick up the book, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee by D. Brown. And if these Indians still remember a little tribal law and custom, this book by this white man gives in precise legal events how these ancestors did it. This is known in international law as the surplanter concept. To say it in a layman's language, someone will stand in the place of the grandson or his descendants to enjoy or participate in a rite or event that had been set aside by the Creator, Great Spirit, for keeping certain teachings and rites. The grandson, in his many travels meeting Indians from different tribes, lecturing on cultures, both white and Indian, to American Indians, India Indians, Native Japanese, Black, white terminated Indians called brown, has found only about 1/2 dozen Indian families who knew what the grandson was talking about. The surplanters are in trouble. If one was to take the most guarded secret thought of all Indians, they would know that each night, each one of them considers only one personal problem. Have they gone beyond the flight pattern to the birds in the air? In a metaphysical, occult conclusion, have they violated the one law or act that would prevent them from passing through the veil? If they find they personally had, then they look to the prophecies and the times when they consider themselves here, will be without a homeland, strangers within our own lands. They believe this is when all reservations will be terminated. Then we will gather and start on the Great Migration. It is that part when the grandson, considers his quest is completed because his grandmother had given a descendant by making him keep the teachings and rites and to search out others, either of the red, white, brown, yellow, or black tribes who have kept the same teachings and rites. The grandson knows by reading the book, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, his grandmother's people have been without a homeland since 1862, when they had to exile into Canada the first time, or was on March 3rd, 1849, when the United States put a territorial government on the Dakota capital, or was it on August 3rd, 1889, or December 30th, 1890? The time or date becomes important because each Indian knows they have 2 Creator's days to restore their generations to proper clan membership. There is no time left to pass it on to the next 2 generations, but restore oneself. The finishing part to the quest, to teach those generations the coming of the last great Indian migration.